I love Count Chocula when I'm watching my cartoons. Let's go. Pour the milk in the bowl, make sure my hand on the top so it won't overflow and get playing outside with my friends from school. It's Saturday morning, fool, but you know it ain't cool. I'm waking up first cause all that be on the tube is the snorts and smurfs.
At least you're having fun. Thank you. Good early freaking morning. You know, it's a seminar, because it's raining outside also, about sugar cereals that we all grew up as kids eating. These Fruity Pebbles Crunch, I think. Probably extra sugar. So, cheers. Okay, I haven't had this cereal in decades, and, you know, it's making me, you know, just jittery because there's just so much sugar in it. That's probably why. Maybe I need a drink.
I'm just such an egomaniac. Who does this? You, sir. Good morning. Good morning. All right, we're about to get started. I could not have done this without Suzanne's help. So everyone, so for those of you that were here last year, you might remember me saying that I had trouble getting this seminar off the ground for many years. The problem being that Saturday morning cartoons and breakfast cereal had nothing to do with Tiki. And once again, I had the same problem this year. Farm management just said, well, you know, you did it last year and it was cute, but it really doesn't have anything to do with Tiki, to which I responded with this.
Hawaii is the place for vacation. Food? Yeah, food. Ghost drums. Trespassers here. You are on the forbidden ground of Mono Tiki
After 47 luau's in a row, I don't see how...
Beyond that one scene, I cannot think of a better place to hold a Saturday morning cartoon and breakfast seminar than right here in Lake George with all of you. Look around this room. Just look at one another. We are all cartoon characters. Look at all the colors. Look how brightly dressed everyone is. These might be photoshopped and they might not. There's actually no way to tell. Beyond that, beyond all of you, Lake George, this town, this very area, is a cartoon setting like no other. If you think about it, we have old paddle boats, we have a bunch of arcades, we have a wax museum, and we have sketchy locals. Seriously, this dude was Stranger Things before Stranger Things was Stranger Things. Who actually remembers him?
I remember him.
Okay, all right. So, moving on. I had a great time doing this last year. I really did. I mean, the fact that people showed up, I can't tell you how much it meant to me. And again, showing up this early on a Saturday after the Friday night room crawls, it really, like, I love this stuff, but I don't expect everybody else to love it. And so when people show up for it, it truly, like, it touches me. And not in a funny way, but in a good way, it touches me. But for real, thank you for all that. And I got a lot of really super positive feedback last year. People seemed to really enjoy it. We had a really good time. That being said, I did get some critiques. And it's okay, I'm a big boy, I can take my lumps. One of the main ones was that I curse a little bit too much. So listen.
Where's the virgin who complained?
And look, I get it. I understand. And I apologize for being over here. I just don't want to be in the way of the screen. So I'd rather you look at that than look at me. Anyway, but I get it. This whole seminar, everything we're doing here today is supposed to be reminiscent of a more innocent time. So things like cartoon bears and things like cartoon rabbits and whatever the fuck this was supposed to be. And the reality is, being a native New Yorker, I tend to curse like a sailor. That's never not going to be funny to me. So, in the interest in containing my potty mouth, I am self-implementing a penalty system for me. What we have here is a swear jar. What we have here is a stack of dollar bills. Every time I say a bad word, dollar bill goes in the jar, and I'm donating the money to the Asheville Humane Society. Now, on top of that, my boss has agreed to match anything that goes into this jar. Bring it. Pass that up. So it is in my best interest and the best interest of the animals to continue cursing. Look at that fucking guy. All right. So this is what I want from you because I need help keeping me honest. I'm going to split this audience right down the middle. Every time I say a bad word, I want this side of the room to say zoinks. I want that side of the room to say jenkies. Not at the same time. Bad word, zoinks, jenkies, dollar in the jar. We got it? Yeah. Should we try it? Yeah. I didn't say anything yet. Wait till I'm fucking ready. All right, close enough. Dollar in the jar, we're good. We're ready to, one more, two quick things. One, these are not stickers, they are tattoos. Oh, yeah. So just make sure, it's not like I printed them backwards. Peel off the plastic on the front, put it on your arm or wherever you want to put it. Hold it there with a wet towel for like 60 seconds and we're good. Saturday morning cartoons and music have had a very long and in the eyes of advertisers, a very profitable relationship. In some cases, cartoons themselves became the medium to sell music. And in other instances, a catchy song was instrumental in the success of the cartoon itself. It is not hard to see why everyone from animators to station marketers saw dollar signs while trying to conceive of the next chart-topping singing gorilla. And that is why, when it comes to Saturday morning cartoons, everyone was in a band. Now, I could have broken, this is a very large category, and I could have broken it down into subsections. So, for instance, there are cartoons that are specifically about bands, where being in a band is central to the plot of the cartoon. Best example is Josie and the Pussycats, where the show is about a teenage all-girl pop band. They just happen to keep getting mixed up in adventures, spy capers, and mysteries. Incidentally, fun fact, Valerie, the sometimes bassist, but for some reason mostly tambourine player, was the first regularly appearing female black character in a Saturday morning cartoon show. Also, fun fact, each member of Josie and the Pussycats were voiced by one actress, but their singing voices were done by somebody else. So, for example, Melody, the stereotypical dumb blonde with the heart of gold, was voiced by Jackie Joseph, but she was sung by Cheryl Ladd. Oh. Famous for replacing Farrah Fawcett on Charlie's Angels, but famous to me for this poster. Also this poster. Also this poster.
Tingly.
Well, this is Cheryl. This is excuse me. Getting tingly myself. This is Cheryl Teagues, not to be confused with Cheryl Ladd. This is also Cheryl Hines. This is Duncan Hines. This is my mom's friend, Cheryl Vogel. there's cartoons about bands, and then there's cartoons where being in a band is central to the character, but then there's also cartoons where characters, for no rhyme or reason at all, and it's never explained, just happen to be in a band. Best example of that would be Jabberjaws. It's an absolute banger theme song. Jabberjaw, the shark from the future that sounds like Curly from the Three Stooges and uses Rodney Dangerfield's I Don't Get No Respect line, and also inexplicably plays drums. Then there are cartoons where a musician or musicians, group, what have you, feature in the episode of that show. Best example of that, Scooby-Doo. Yes. Which, for some insane, batshit reason, I need to be able to count on you people. For some insane reason, featured an assortment of musicians, everyone from Sonny and Cher to Mama Cass to my hero Jerry Reed, and continuing more recently with Smash Mouth, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, and Kiss. Incidentally, back in the day, they really did Mama Cass dirty. I don't know what that is. That's not Mama Cass. That was just wrong. For those in the know or for those not in the know, Scooby-Doo has recently dived kink first into what can only be described as a softcore goth fetish, with characters like Lila of Mambo Wamba and the Hoodoo Voodoo, and the band The Hex Girls. This is the band The Hex Girls. This is on Scooby-Doo. We're all seeing this, right?
That's not a skirt, that's a belt.
Yeah. Somebody drew this. And you know what? The Hex Girls rock.
I'm gonna cast a spell on you.
Scooby-Doo firing on all cylinders. All right, so so categories. So we've got shows that are about bands. We've got shows where characters play in a band, and we've got shows that feature episodes with bands. But just to keep this all nice and neat, in a neat little package, I am simply just calling this section Cartoon Bands. All right, who knows who the first cartoon band was?
The Archies.
Any guesses?
The Archies.
No.
Uh-oh.
No. Cartoon bands. First cartoon band was David Seville and the Chipmunks, later renamed Alvin and the Chipmunks. Story goes, back in 1958, a music producer by the name of Ross Bagdasarian, using the stage name David Seville, recorded the song Witch Doctor.
I told the witch doctor I was in love with you. I told the witch doctor I was in love with you. And then the witch doctor, he told me what to do. He said that
That single stayed at #1 for 3 weeks, and for some reason, on Halloween of all days, Seville recorded a holiday-themed follow-up called the Chipmunk song, Christmas Don't Be Late. Yeah. Recorded that on Halloween. Okay. Now, who wants to know a quick fun fact about me? Quick fun fact about Tiki Vee. I fucking hate the Chipmunks. Good. There we go. You know what? I'm getting 2 for that. I hate everything about Alvin and the Chipmunks. I hate their look. I hate the sound. I hate the concept. I especially hate the recent Nickelodeon rebrand.
Oh, yeah.
Get fucked with all this. Fine. I hate their... This is important. I need to stress how much I hate them.
How much do you hate?
I hate their songs, and I hate all 54 of their recorded records. Yeah, they have 54 records that you could buy inexplicably. Right, isn't that hard? That makes me want to fill my pockets with rocks and walk into the lake. For comparison, the Beatles only released 12 studio albums and 5 live albums. These squeaky little pieces of shit have 54. All right, 54 records to their credit, including Christmas with the Chipmunks Volumes 1 and 2, Chipmunks A Go-Go, Chipmunk Punk, Urban Chipmunk, which was re-released in 1993 with new songs, Chipmunks in the Valley of Caligula, The Rocky Horror Chipmunk Show, and Chipmunks Sing the Songs of the Third Reich. They even released a version of What's New Pussycat, because fuck you Tiki Vee, that's why. For anyone that has never had an aneurysm, that's what it sounds like.
I took my asthma at 11 p.m. last night!
In fact, the only good thing to ever come out of the Chipmunks' long and unfortunate recording history is this. Back on September 19th of 1987, on the Alvin and the Chipmunks show, the episode My Pharaoh Lady, Alvin and his brothers covered the song Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bangles. Right, yeah, that's appropriate. Their version, like everything else they touched, was an earache filled with hot garbage. But something super awesome came out of it. If you take their off-key caterwauling and you slow it down to 1/16 of its original speed, it is, without question, the greatest cover anyone has ever recorded. And this was the first time the public at large got a look at Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. Oh. That's not a chipmunk. That has cloven hooves. That's the devil. The Chipmunk song was insanely successful, thereby proving my theory that humanity is a failed experiment and we need to accept our AI overlords. It hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 Pop Singles chart, becoming the Chipmunks' first and thankfully only hit single. It also had the distinction of being the only Christmas record to reach #1 on that same chart until Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You did so 61 years later in 2019. That makes 2 separate songs, 2 separate Christmas songs, recorded in hell. Look. Just to put a final exclamation point on my manifesto of hate for the Chipmunks, I would like to point out that originally, the Chipmunks didn't wear sweaters or hoodies or baggy clothing. They were wearing muumuus. One piece, one color, drab muumuus. Now, I know that here at Ohana and in the world of Polynesian pop culture, wearing muumuus is all cool and it's all hip and it's the thing to do. I get it. That's fine. But back in the 1960s, there was only one other person publicly wearing a muumuu. Does anybody know who that person was? No, you don't. You know who it was? It was Schlitzie. The real-life inspiration for Zippy the Pinhead, a microcephalic sideshow performer featured in Todd Browning's movie Freaks. He wore a muumuu because he wasn't bathroom trained, and it was just easier to clean the floor than it was to follow him around with a broom. And that is what I think of when I see Alvin and the Chipmunks. I see a recording studio filled with rodent shit. All right. I seriously, I absolutely hate them. This is where the golden age of cartoon music, cartoon bands, officially kicks off. In 1969, the year of Abbey Road, the song Sugar Sugar by the Archies hits #1 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Sugar, oh honey, honey, you are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you.
All right. Finally into some real music. Now, the story of how the Archies came together is actually pretty fascinating. The band was inspired, the cartoon band was inspired by the success of the Monkees. Producer Don Kirshner, who had produced the Monkees, wanted a band that he could fully control. Working with the Monkees, although they started out as a fictional band, they were still real people, and they used their real names. And they became increasingly frustrated with Kirshner's micromanaging, which led to lots of disputes and fights and eventually had Kirshner fired. So Kirshner, and this is his direct quote when forming the Archies, said, "I want a band that won't talk back." So he commissioned a bunch of studio musicians to create the fictional 5-piece Archies band. The idea was that if any of them didn't follow his marching directions, they were out, somebody new was in, and nobody would be any wiser. And that happened a lot. In total, there were 21 different musicians that made up the fictional 5-piece band. One of them was the incredibly talented, but unfortunately named Hugh McCracken. He actually was an industry legend, and he played with everyone from Steely Dan to Billy Joel to John Lennon and McCartney and to Carly Simon. We all know that looks just like Carly Simon. I don't know why I pick on Carly Simon so much. When it came to promoting the Archies' music, one breakthrough distribution mode was embossing the records, cardboard records, on the back of cereal boxes, which you would then you'd cut out and play on a standard turntable. Now, even though the Archies didn't really exist, over the next few years, they stood as one of the most imitated bands in all of pop music. Suddenly, kids around the country learned that their favorite Saturday morning characters secretly doubled as pop and rock legends, and thus began a seemingly endless cavalcade of Saturday morning cartoons/bands. You had the Hardy Boys, you had Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kids, you had the Groovy Ghoulies, you had, that's right, the Banana Splits, the Chattanooga Cats, the Beagles, Magilla Gorilla, one of my favorites, Lancelot Link and the Evolution Revolution. You had the California Raisins. Also, this is what happens when you ask someone who has never seen a raisin to draw a raisin. Little known cartoon, Mission Magic, which starred Rick Springfield as himself. It's terrible, don't watch it. We had the Amazing Chan and the Chan Clan, the Neptunes featuring Jabberjaws, the Impossibles, Jem, who we all know was?
Truly.
There it is. And of course, Josie and the Pussycats on Earth and Josie and the Pussycats in Outer Space, which was notable for 2 reasons. One, it gave us the most phallic-looking rocket ship ever until Jeff Bezos launched his Blue Origin. It also introduced children across the globe to this fucking atrocity. Thank you. I will have nightmares. Cartoon bands didn't just rely on fictional comic book characters, they eventually started mining real-life celebrities to fill the hours and airtimes, keeping fickle children happy. You had the Beatles, you had the Jackson 5, you had the Osmond Brothers, the Partridge Family, which took place in outer space for some strange reason, the Brady Kids, and even the New Kids on the Block went in for the cartoon transformation. Yeah, don't watch the New Kids on the Block either. It's absolutely terrible. Even the Harlem Globetrotters, who had not one, but 2 separate shows, one where they played themselves and a second where they were superheroes. He turns into spaghetti. He really turns into spaghetti. That's his superpower. I'm not even making that up. And who, by the way, were not then, nor are they now, nor were they ever musicians, got in on the action, supplementing their own cartoon series with a cartoon album, an album based on and illustrated with their cartoon personas rather than their real life ones. This was, once again, brought to you by Don Kirshner. Now, this is something that you really should look up on YouTube. This whole record's on there, and it's awful. But there is a song that is super, super awesome. It was written by Neil Sedaka, and it's called Bouncing All Over the World, and it is a very clear Jackson 5 ripoff. But it's about the Globetrotters bragging about using their hoop skills to bounce over border walls and slam dunk as many honeys as possible. This was a children's record. And it's because there are no bad ideas in the 1970s. Eventually blurring all lines between musical facts and sugary fiction, the Sugar Bears became the first cartoon band based on characters originally created to advertise breakfast cereals. And look, I'm just gonna say it, once again, it's on YouTube. This album is an absolute banger. It is an absolute banger. And fun fact, this character, does anybody want to guess who does it? Who voices that character? Sings it? Plays it? You'll never get it. Kim Carnes. Oh. Yeah. Okay, so the Amazing Chan and the Chan Clan imagines Charlie Chan back in action in contemporary 1972, solving jewel heists, foiling dog nappings, and rescuing kidnapped baseball stars. He does so while dragging his 10 children, aged 6 to 18, along for his hijinks and shenanigans. There is no sign and no mention of the mother, and that is evident as Charlie Chan displays one emotion through the entire 16-episode run, and that is complete exhaustion. Seriously, look how tired he is. Look at those bags. That's every episode. Now here's the cool part. Actor Key Luke, who played Lee Chan, the #1 son in the Charlie Chan films of the 30s, voices Charlie Chan in the cartoon. It's worth mentioning that this cartoon marks the very first time a Chinese person actually plays Charlie Chan. Had never been done before. Originally, the voice cast was entirely of Asian descent, which was the first time an American cartoon airing on a major network had an almost completely non-American cast. The only exception being actor Don Messick, who played Choo Choo the dog. By the way, Don Messick also voiced Sebastian on Josie and the Pussycats, and this hate crime against God. Unfortunately, early on, it was decided that most of the children's accents were too thick for American audiences to understand, and all of the characters except for Henry Chan and Alan Chan were recast. And once the new cast was in place, earlier episodes were then redubbed. I know, pretty shitty, right? That's $1 going in the jar. It's going in there. Fun fact, Ann Chan, the one with the orange hat, was originally voiced by a woman named Leslie Kumamata and was replaced by Jodie Foster. I know. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. Now, although the Amazing Chan and the Chan Clan were meant to add some much-needed cultural diversity to the Saturday morning cartoon landscape, it's still pretty white bread territory. And that kind of leads me into my next topic. I want everyone to take a look around. Look at your neighbors, look at the back, look at the front, look at me. I'm looking at you. You know what I see? There sure are a lot of honkies in this room. You know there are. On average. On average, only 5.6% of cartoon characters were black. Less were Hispanic or Asian, and as far as I know, there was only one Pacific Islander ever prominently featured in a show. Anyone know who it was?
The guy from Plastic Man?
Hula Hula from Plastic Man. Very good. But the most popular, the most successful African-American cartoon character? Say it with a little enthusiasm for this. Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. Yep. Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, which also featured the cartoon in a cartoon, The Brown Hornet. Now, let's put aside the problems with Bill Cosby. Put it aside. Fat Albert ran for 12 years. The cartoon was hugely important and groundbreaking for a number of reasons. First, it gave us something more terrified than this cotton ball film of STDs. When it finally gave us a look at Dumb Donald without his trademark hat. Does anybody remember this episode? No. Nobody? Who wants to see Dumb Donald without his trademark hat? You're not gonna like this, I promise. Yeah, you're ready, right? This is canon, by the way. This is actual lore. This is what he looks like without his hat. No, look at it. You wanted to see it. The implications of this are terrifying. But it was also noteworthy because during each episode, Fat Albert and his friends, aka the Junkyard Gang, who were also in a band, dealt with issues or problems commonly faced by children, ranging from stage fright, first loves, medical operations, personal hygiene, to more serious themes, though toned down for younger audiences, including vandalism, stealing, racism, rape, smoking, being scammed by con artists, sexually transmitted diseases, child abuse, kidnapping, drug use, gun violence, and death. It's pretty amazing for a Saturday morning cartoon. Now, Fat Albert is widely regarded as the greatest African-American cartoon character of all time. You ask anyone, and it's usually the first and last name that gets recognized. And yes, largely, hugely important, but I strongly disagree. I think, in my opinion, as white and lame as it is, there is one black superhero that tops all others. It is indisputable, it is irrefutable, it is unchallenged, unquestioned, undeniable, incontrovertible, a sure thing nailed down, no mistake, decided, final, and certain. Does anybody know who it is? Yes, you do. First name Mr., middle name period, last name T. Actor, producer, singer. Yes, he was a singer. Professional bodybuilder, bouncer to the stars, breakfast cereal mascot, cancer survivor, part-time motivational speaker, full-time badass, cultural icon, and legend, Mr. T. Mr. T was born Lawrence Strode. I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson, so follow along. There's going to be a test after this. He was the youngest of 12 children. He and his 4 sisters and 7 brothers grew up in a 3-bedroom apartment in the notorious Robert Taylor Homes housing project. After his father left the family when he was 5, he shortened his name to Lawrence Tiro. In 1970, he legally changed his last name to T. His new name, Mr. T, was based upon childhood impressions regarding the lack of respect from white people for his family. Quote, I think about my father being called boy, my uncle being called boy, my brother coming back from Vietnam and being called boy. So I question myself, what does a black man have to do before being given the respect he deserves as a man? So when I was 18 years old, when I was old enough to fight and die for my country, old enough to drink, old enough to vote, I said I was old enough to be called a man. I self-ordained myself Mr. T, so the first word out of everybody's mouth is Mr. You talk about big, giant balls. If you took all the balls in this room, doubled them, you still wouldn't have 25% of Mr. T's balls. After serving in the U.S. Army, T worked as a bouncer at Dingbats Discotheque. It's here he started to develop the Mr. T persona, specifically wearing gold chains. This was a result of customers either forgetting or losing their jewelry in the club due to drunkenness and fighting. T would collect the jewelry, wear it out front. The person who lost it was welcome to have it if they could physically take it from him. Yeah. In his late 20s, he won 2 nationally recognized tough man competitions, the second of which was a scheduled 3-round boxing match. He won it in 54 seconds. Afterwards, when interviewed, he said of his opponent, I don't hate him, I pity the fool. It's been reported that Sylvester Stallone saw that, heard that line, and was inspired to create the greatest, without question, the greatest character in the Rocky Balboa franchise, Paulie's robot girlfriend. This scene made that movie. This is in a movie.
It's a nice song.
Yeah, we're not watching that. No, I'm talking about James Clubber Lang. Now, I know you probably think I'm heaping all this praise on Mr. T just sort of like in jest or to be ironic, but, and I get it. You look at it now, he's sort of an easy target. But, I mean, he really was a living cartoon character and a real life superhero, and I know that because it says it right on his doll.
Don't eat my cereal!
But that's not all, it's not even close. Mr. T grew up dirt poor in one of the most dangerous sections of Chicago. From a young age, he was surrounded by violence and drugs and guns and gangs and pimps and hookers and shitty soft rock. And so when he finally... I hate shitty soft rock, I'm giving you another $1. When he finally became famous and he finally got a little money and he wasn't struggling to make ends meet, he could have easily sat back on his laurels and said, look, I got mine, you go get yours, which is a sadly prevalent attitude. But he didn't. He used his fame to promote positivity and the importance of family, friendship, and respect. He preached inclusivity and the concept of togetherness long before it was a trending hashtag. He even used his own cereal commercials to promote education, much in the same way I'm using this cereal seminar at a charity where we raise money for education. This is what he did with his own commercials.
New Mr. T, breakfast cereal. The cereal with a dynamite taste presents Mr. T, talk number 1.
Hello, Mr. T here, and today I'm talking school. Getting an education. You just gotta help it, kids. So study hard, listen to the teachers, and learn something new every day. You'll be a better person. And remember, do the best you can every day.
Mr. T, the delicious, crispy sweet corn and oat cereal, part of a good breakfast.
But remember, you need the whole breakfast to do your best every day.
Over and over again, he stressed the importance of showing someone the path rather than showing them the door. That makes Mr. T FOM. And it is time we show him the recognition that he so rightly deserves. And to do that, I need 3 volunteers who wants to win some prizes. 1, 2, I need 1 more. Come on, I need a guy, I need a dude. Come on, come on. Brian, Alice, and Gina. Give it up for 1 more, give him another round of applause. We're gonna have a little contest. It is said that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, is it not? I'm gonna let the audience vote. It's gonna be real simple. I want to hear, one at a time, your best Mr. T impersonation. You can pick any line you want. Has to be a Mr. T impersonation. We all know what he sounds like, right? But I want you to do Mr. T having an orgasm. Gina, why don't you start us off? Come on, Gina. You can get into character, it's fine.
I pity.
You're retired now, it's okay.
I pity the fool that don't need a hug.
Brian, let's see what you got.
Oh, I see you sitting there. I see you sitting there with that statue. I know you want to retire, but oh, you bring that pretty little self up to my apartment tonight. Oh, I pity the fool. I pity him.
All right, hang on. Now the voting. Applause for Gina. Alice. And Brian. I think it's pretty clear. But wait, you're all getting prizes. Brian, your prize is actually at the bar. Yeah. Alice, you get Hawaiian pancakes from Hawaii, and you get this adorable Funko Pop. Thank you very much. All right, enough history. Who wants to watch a cartoon? Let's find out where this fucking thing comes from.
Now that we're headed back to Earth, let's try to tune in some good music from home.
No, don't touch those dials, Alexandra.
Everything was preset by the Zelk scientists to get us back home. Don't change it.
Oh, I know what I'm doing. Let's see now. I think it's this one. No, maybe it's this one.
Alexandra, you've thrown us off our course.
Oh, quiet. I've got everything under control.
My dear sister has done it again. Val, take over before it's too late.
I've got it.
I'll hold Alexandra's hands.
Alan.
Just to keep them off the controls.
It took that many people to write that story?
Y'all have a good time? Thank you. Thank you for coming. Please feel free to take as much cereal as you want. And yeah, man, let's do this again next year. Thank you.
Yeah. Michael V's presentation on cereal, sugar cereal. Now we get drinks. Blueberry milk punch. And of course it's sweet. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.